So today we have an incredible guest on the show. Her name is Michelle Danner. She is an accomplished actress, acting coach, director, and she has recently starred and directed the film The Italian. So welcome to the podcast, Michelle. We're so happy to have you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Yes, and like I said, the movie The Italians, oh, it was such a great movie. My husband and I watched it together, and I laughed and cried. I found myself pointing at the TV a few times, and I'm like, I get that. I recognize that.
That's great. We made this movie. Um, I think, well, it was a little bit, the COVID was still happening, but
Okay.
it was towards the end. And so we didn't wear masks. And we had a great time. I was lucky enough to have this cast. Rob Estes, who I've worked with on many movies, Abigail Breslin, who I'd worked on a movie called Miranda's Victim, Matthew Daddario, who plays, our son, who I'm actually going to work on a movie in a few weeks from now. I'm in pre-production for another movie that I'm going to do with him.
Oh, cool.
Olivia Luccardi, the incredible Lainey Kazan, David DeLuise.
Mm.
Who else am I forgetting? Abigail, Matthew, Rob. Perry Reeves, who plays my best friend in the movie. I was just really lucky. Brian Drillinger is in it too, with small part. He was one of the producers. When that cast comes together, you create a family on set when you shoot it.
Sure.
And in this case, you're making a movie about a family, an Italian American family whose only son meets their, son's girlfriend for the very first time. So you can imagine the conflict that that brings.
Conflict and some pretty funny moments too.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was funny. We did the festival circuit with this movie for about a year. So we went, first of all, was the Chinese here, the Italian American Film Festival at a Chinese in Hollywood. From there, we went to San Jose to Cinequest. Then I went to shoot a movie actually in Italy. So I wasn't there, but the movie played at the San Luis Obispo Film Festival. And then it went on and played at the Nevada Film Festival, and several more. I'm blanking a little bit, but in Italy, I went to Italy in August. It played at two film festivals in Italy, the Ischia Global Film Festival in the Marateale. That was a lot of fun. And then when we came back, it played at the Big Apple Film Festival. And then we released it, and people are really liking it. And you can rent it exclusively on Amazon for a few more months.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's a beautiful film. Like I said, I laughed at the end. I cried happy tears, sad tears. It was a great movie. And my husband, he loved Lucia, the the character. We got a big kick out of her.
Lena Kazan brings the house down every time. Every time she came on the screen, people roared. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so I noticed at the end of the film, you dedicated it to your mother, Lauren Donna, is that correct?
Loredana,
Laura
yes.
Donna. Yeah. So, um, do you want to tell us a little bit about her and maybe if she shows up in small bits in the movie?
Oh, she definitely shows up. I channeled her throughout the whole thing. I felt very close to her. But the truth of the matter is, I don't need to make a movie that's inspired by her to feel close to her. I mean, that's the legacy that our loved ones leave us, is that they're with us no matter what, which is part of the message of the movie. Um,
Absolutely.
they're with us always and forever. But yes, she. I don't know if she would have liked the movie if she was alive. My mother was a very tempestuous woman, very passionate, full of fire, fireworks, and she was a volcano, always ready to erupt. As a matter of fact, I have said this many times. As she cooked dinner, and she was a very good cook. She made a very good bolognese sauce. We sat down at the dinner table. We didn't quite know exactly when the spaghetti was going to fly, but we could count on it. Let's just put it that way. So we all sat in anticipation, digestive wise, when it was going to happen. Somebody was going to say something. It doesn't even matter what. It didn't even have to be something provocative, just anything. It could be, move your chair closer to the table. But the fireworks were going to erupt. So yeah, it was that kind of who knows if I would have turned out to be an artist if I wasn't raised in that environment with that kind of passion, and everything was just, dramatic. And then of course they made fun of me because they always say, save your drama for the Savior drama for the stage.
Oh.
Uh, because I was dramatic myself. I was inspired. I had inspirations around me. But my mother was a free spirit. She was an artist herself, so she sang and she danced and she raised four kids and
Wow.
took us on vacation. And we were raised in Europe, in Paris, but she always loved American cars. So she would buy, like, Ford cars, Mercury or Mustang. And there was one particular trip where we went for the summer to Spain, and she had the four of us in the back of the car, and we all made little beds. And of course, at the time, they didn't enforce seat belts, so there was no.
Sure.
But we all made, like, we camped out in the back of the car with pillows and blankets. And then to drive to Spain from France, there's this mountain and it goes like this, and we were at night. And when you looked down, it was pretty steep. And I remember thinking, if we make it out alive, it'll be a miracle, because it was really scary. And then
I
it started
bet.
to rain, and then it started to lighten and thunder, and we're at the edge of this mountain driving to Spain, and you know, there was a lot of adventures like that. But obviously, we all made it safe in one piece.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I thought that was really special at the end with your mom. So let's talk about your cast. We talked about the cast a little bit, but it was an incredible cast that came together, and each person had such a personality and such a different personality. Um, and I have a question about Nico. His clothing really stood out to me, because he had like the members only jackets and the loafers, and I just thought that that was a kind of a really creative choice. So I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Well, I mean, I think it came about with our wonderful costume designer, who I'm working with again, Lorraine Wilson, who, talked about the kind of clothing that he would wear.
Yeah.
And although, was raised in a Italian American traditional family, he wanted, to sign the part, and put his own stamp on it and be independent. I think that's, anyway, what any child longs for, is to invisible umbilical cord and find their independence. But
Yeah.
and also Matthew Daddario, who's such a handsome, heartthrob, um, wears anything that, well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting because, looking at the members only jackets, the loafers and stuff, it reminded me of, like my father's grandfather's generation. And so, but that Nico was younger versus Vincenzo. And I just thought it was an interesting, kind of opposition, but pretty cool though. It was neat to see that. There was just like those little things that I would recognize, like that are kind of Italian American culture a little bit throughout the whole movie, which I loved.
Yes. And also my production designer was Alessandra Manias, who I'm also working with right now. And she's
Nice.
a wonderful, wonderful designer. She brings the thing together. She's Italian. So of course that helped. And there were many touches in the movie that, so authentic in terms of Italian American families and Italian families. So,
Hmm.
there's this whole thing when it comes to Italy, I'm sure you know. And so my mother was born in Milano. And so, I remember when I grew up, and let's say we went to Naples or we went to Calabria, or, there's always, the north and the south, that, one is snotty towards the other, the
Sure.
people that live in Milano and that live in Rome look down a little bit on the people of the south, in Naples and Sicily, and vice versa.
Hmm.
Um, and so, and forget about their point of view about Italian Americans. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a whole other thing. Uh, so they're very, opinionated in terms of what they think. So my mother was from Milano. Um, so I grew up with the judgment here and judgment there, and
Yeah, there's a lot there that happens for sure. Well, that's neat. So yeah, having an Italian or Italian American on the production probably helps a lot too. So,
yes, as a matter of fact, my cinematographer was Italian.
oh my
Uh,
gosh.
First AD was Italian. He's also going to work on this movie coming up. So I had an Italian crew, an Italian family telling a story about, Italianos, American, Italian American.
Yeah, well, you can see it seep through everything. So, now is this something that you wrote or
No, Lisa Phillips Visca wrote it. It came to me as a play, and
Okay,
I did a reading of it in my theater, and I thought it had a lot of heart. And I asked her if she would kindly write the screenplay of it, which she did. And then we, of course, when you are directing something, you contribute, you change things, you bring your ideas, you have to stamp it with your own signature. I think it's
sure.
the only way. And sometimes, writers, in terms of all my experiences, all the writers I've worked with, by and large, have been good and happy with changes. I mean, they understand that it goes through another pass and another pass and another pass. I'm about to make another pass at the script I'm working on now that I'm going to shoot in a few weeks. And it's something about art and about process that baffles me, is that you don't always see everything. And, so you go, you sleep on it, you wake up, you see it with different eyes. And it's the same thing when you're editing a movie. You can edit a scene and be very happy with it. And then you come back to it the day after, or 2 days after, and you go, well, what was I thinking? This doesn't work at all. And it's the same thing with the script. And hopefully you get it right early on and you don't have to fall on your face many times in order to get it right.
Yeah, definitely. So, speaking of scenes, what was one of your favorite scenes in the movie?
Well, I think I love the scene where Angelina comes to see her mother in the nursing home. And,
Mm.
and they have a moment of reconciliation and a moment of understanding each other and forgiving each other. And so we did it in 3 takes.
Oh my
And
gosh.
my son, who's helping me on the movie, came at the end of the third take and he said nothing. He just had tears in his eyes and he put a hand on his heart and he just looked at me.
Oh,
And
so sweet.
we hit it, and yeah, it was beautiful. And Lainey was just, she's quite a lady. She was wonderful. She brought her heart to it. Every actor that I worked with on this movie just, signed on. And how sometimes you hear that people phone it in, sometimes people do it for the money. Well, I can tell you in this case, nobody did it for the money. They did it for the art. Um, but yeah, because it's an indie movie. And, listen, I've worked on bigger movies, bigger budget movies and smaller budget movies. And I like the smaller budget. Of course, as a filmmaker, you want to have enough money to make your vision come to life. But I like doing, the small indies, I have to say. I feel like I'm a poster child for that.
Yeah, no, it was great. That part, that scene that you're talking about when you held hands with her at the end, like over the shoulder. Oh, I teared up. I was like, it was such a special moment. It was so sweet.
We felt it. We felt it when we were shooting it.
Oh, I'm sure. I bet there was a few times like it was probably hard to get through scenes, whether or not you were just laughing so hard or or the tears.
Good time. And also everybody was happy with the food because Alessandra Manias is also a great chef. And
Mm.
so, that eggplant tasted really good, the chicken, the gnocchi, the pasta, everything tasted really good. The meatballs, and everybody was eating nonstop.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. All that food. Yeah, you guys probably ate pretty good during that time.
Yeah. We were happy.
That's awesome. So, have you received feedback from the Italian American community on your movie?
We have, well, the festivals, which I think that they're a wonderful place for, independent filmmakers to show their work. And you go and, oh, we went to the Ojai Film Festival as well. You, people come back to you and they give you feedback and it's visceral and you're sitting with the community and watching a movie together. Um, it was just a great experience to show it in different cities, to do that circuit, that we call the festival circuit. And so we got it. But not only people came up to us that were of Italian descent or Italian Americans, but also people came to us from Jewish families and from Ukraine and from China. I mean, people were like, because family is family and family is universal.
Hmm.
I went to just see this movie just now. I was in New York, and I saw the movie that won the Tony, which was Purpose,
Mm.
which is, about an African American family. And I can tell you that, family is family.
Hmm.
Craziness is craziness. Funny things that happen are humorous thing that happens across the boards. And so you relate. There's a universality no matter what heritage we are, what race we are. There's a universality to all of us.
I
And
agree.
that's what bonds us as humans. And when you're able to hold up a mirror of humanity, and then you make people laugh, and then you make people feel something, um, we're all in it together.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. Yeah. 'Cause family's family. We can, like you said, no matter what race, culture, anything, you can sit around the table and you're going to have very similar threads, very similar themes
Totally.
happening.
Totally.
Yeah. Yep. So is this the kind of the first Italian American movie that you've made, or?
Well, I did a movie called, it was my first movie, it was ages ago. It was called How to Go Out on a Date in Queens. Um, and that had some characters that were, I had a great cast: Jason Alexander, Sam Morales, Ron Perlman, Allison Eastwood, Rob Estes, who plays
Okay.
the Italians. He was the lead in How to Go Out on a Date in Queens. Uh, Brian Drillinger. I'm forgetting people. Did I say Allison Eastwood? Kimberly Williams Paisley was in it. She was great. Just a wonderful cast. Um, and that was all like the melting pot of nationalities that live in Queens.
Oh, cool.
And it was a fun movie to also make. I called it my equivalent to having gone to film school.
Okay. Nice. And so were you born in, did you say you were raised in Europe?
I was born in New York,
Okay.
in New York City, and my dad headed the William Morris Agency, which is now the William Morris Endeavor, and they moved us to Paris. In charged him to be the president and open the Paris offices, and I think it was 1964. So when I was a baby, we moved to Paris. That's what I had my upbringing there, and then it wasn't until I was a teenager that we decided to move back to New York City. And so came back and had, the incredible honor to study with Stella Adler, with Uta Hagen, with Herberg Bergdorf. I studied with a lot of great acting teachers, and was always fascinated by acting. And I think that if somebody would have followed me, they would have known I would have become an acting teacher myself. And I love teaching acting, although I these days I'm teaching a tiny little bit less. I teach master classes, and I teach master classes all over the world. As a matter of fact, after I finish shooting this movie here in LA, I'm headed to Tokyo, and I'm headed to Australia, to Brisbane, Queensland, to teach master classes there, which I'm excited about. And but I love teaching. I mean, this is something that I love doing, and now I'm in LA, and I love my life here. And I love to go to New York. I go to New York all the time because my family's in New York.
Mm. So that's where when you guys came back, your family stayed in New York.
Yes, my family's in New York, but I have two kids, and they live here, obviously, with me, with one of my sisters, and we work together. I work with my family. If you love me, then you have to, roll up your sleeves and work. So my kids work with me. Everybody works,
That's
but
nice though.
there is, there's something to be said about keeping an eye on your kids that way.
Yeah, you got them right there, right? So you can see what they're doing.
Exactly. Because even if you have a job that's all encompassing and it takes everything out of you, every fiber of your being, you're always wondering, you have your hand in your heart in your hands, always wondering, what are my kids doing now? That old thing that they would play on TV is, it's 6 p.m. Do you know where your kids are?
Yeah.
That thing. But if they're in front of you, then you definitely know where they are.
Yep, you know where they are, who they're talking to, all of that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So, is there any projects that you'd like to talk about that I know that you've got something going on. Any projects you'd like to tell the listeners about to look forward to?
Well, I want people obviously to watch The Italians. It's exclusively on Amazon, and then it'll hit in the fall other platforms. It's released, digitally in tiers. It's going to be, I know, up in Canada on August 7th. Yep, August 7th, around the corner. And as I go to Australia, The Italians is released in Australia um, in theaters and in New Zealand. So I'm excited about that. I am in post-production for a movie called Under the Stars that I shot last year with Tony Collette, Andy Garcia, Alex Pettifer, Eva Di Domenici, and Rob Estes. So I'm doing the post on that, and Eva Di Domenici and Matthew Daddario from the Italians are going to star in this new movie that I'm shooting,
Oh,
Starstruck,
cool.
which is a rom-com. And then late fall, early winter, I'm going to be shooting a sci-fi thriller called Helios with a great actress that I'm very excited about. Um, so yeah, I mean, storytelling is in my blood, as you can tell. And whether I do it through teaching actors or whether I do it in theater, because when I was in New York, I just did a reading of a play that we're hoping to mount, in New York, a ticket to the circus that I've been working on. So whether it's in theater, whether it's in film, whether it's in classrooms, always what's at the core of it is a desire to tell stories.
Well, I feel you 100%. I love to tell stories too. So just I have a little bit of a different platform that I do mine on.
Well, what you're doing is storytelling as well. Absolutely.
Yep. So there's an the Italian Australian podcast, I think is what it is. So maybe when you go there and you're promoting the movie, you could reach out to them and maybe they can help promote it in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
game. Love I love doing the work, whatever it is that it takes. And I told my son, who is a filmmaker who graduated from USC, we're either going to be developing, preparing to shooting, or post, or the after post, which is marketing and talking about the movie, talking about the story.
Amazing. Yeah, well, you've got a lot in the works, and I'll post in the show notes for the listeners. I'll give an Amazon link so that they can find the movie really easy. And you are all over social media. I like you can just type in the Italians and follow the movie on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram.
Exactly, that's right. Yep. That because we have to do a grassroots campaign and we have to that's what sets apart different independent movies, the willingness to keep nurturing it and finding and bringing it to the audience. That's the right audience to watch the movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm more than honored to help filter that out to my listeners and bring their attention to it, and I'll post all of that on there. So,
So much. And if you can go, and I tell this to everybody, at every festival, I said, go on Rotten Tomatoes, give it a score, go on. Not a lot of people do that. Go on IMDb, score it. If you've watched it on Amazon, give it a score. I mean, obviously, if it's a bad score,
yeah.
don't. But if you can help, because that helps the grassroots marketing of an independent movie.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely listeners go do that and support Michelle's amazing movie, The Italians.
Thank you very much. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it.
You take care.